Hello and welcome back to the Recruit Podcast. I'm Sam Bylett. Today I'm joined by Lorenza Velez, founder at Ponte. Lorenza, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Sam. Excited to be here.
That's great to have you here. Could you tell us a bit more about the company and what inspired you to focus on supporting Hispanic immigrants in the US labor market?
Yeah, so I started the company with a co-founder that was actually doing my master's degree with me in Boston. We were really close to everybody who worked at the cafeteria because we're from Colombia. They're from Colombia. And one of them brought all their family members to the US and they asked us for help in finding them jobs. We found this really interesting because this was at a time when the labor shortage was getting really bad in the US. And we basically realized that millions of Hispanic immigrants in the US face issues finding jobs in the US because of language and cultural barriers. And then at the same time, employers really struggle to find these workers. So we built Ponte to bridge the gap between Hispanic immigrants in the US and employers that really want these workers. And our goal is to build the first platform that helps Hispanic immigrants in the US achieve their professional goals.
Okay, it's amazing, amazing story. And you've carved out a strong kind of niche in hospitality, hotels, restaurants, and big management groups. What kind of companies do you usually work with, and how do you help them tackling hiring challenges?
Yeah, so our clients are hotel management companies or brands that operate their own hotels because they're the ones doing the actual hiring on the ground. And basically, what we help them do is we help them fill hourly roles that are really difficult to fill right now in the US. And not being able to fill those roles has a huge operational impact for hotels. So we give these hotels access to a huge pool of candidates that they don't have access to today. And then we help both the candidates and the hotel navigate the end-to-end process between sourcing the candidates to actually having the person start working.
Okay, amazing. And I saw the US hospitality sector is averaging over 1.5 million job openings each month, but so many roles are still sitting unfilled. How's that shortage showing up for your clients? And what are you kind of doing to help close that gap?
The shortage impacts hotels so much. I feel like the shortage has gotten a little bit better than when we started the company in 2023. In 2023, the situation was so bad that some of our clients couldn't post all of the rooms they had available online because they didn't have enough people to clean the rooms. That has gotten a little bit better, but still, hotels just don't have the staff to be able to give the quality of service that they need, which is the most important thing at a hotel. And basically, what we help them do is we help them fill those openings that have been open for a year, 6 months. Most hotels use traditional channels to recruit candidates. So they use job boards, they post jobs on their site. Um, and the pool of candidates that we help them source is there. They're in the cities where they're needed. They're just not reaching the hotels through the traditional channels. So we basically give them access to a pool of candidates that's there, and that helps close openings that have been unfilled for a really long time.
And I always hear you just can't find good candidates. From your perspective, is there really a kind of a talent shortage, or are businesses just searching the wrong way?
That's a good question. I think so. I don't think hotels are really good employers, which is why we started in hospitality. So at hotels, you get a lot of benefits if you work directly for the hotel. You can grow within the hotel. So I don't think the labor shortage should be felt by hotels as much as it is being felt by hotels. And I think a big part of that is sometimes at the hotels, the people that work at hotels are so busy. So sometimes the general manager is in charge of doing the hiring, but then the general manager also owns the P&L, is also responsible to increase bookings. They have so many things on their plate that they can't focus 100% on recruiting and retention. So I actually think if hotels either had someone in-house or someone like Ponte helping them do that like end-to-end recruiting process, making sure that the candidates were happy, they would be able to source and keep good talent because hotels are really good employers.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And how big of a role do compensation packages and employer branding play when it comes to attracting that frontline talent?
Well, that's a good question. So we analyze this data a lot on our platform, and the employers that have the best retention are not the ones that have the highest wages. They do pay either at market or a little bit above, but they are actually the ones that treat their employees the best. That's the feedback that the candidates that work at the best the hotels with the best retention are saying. They like the way they're treated by their supervisors, by their peers, by the GM of the hotel. So if you're a hotel and you want to increase retention, you do not have to pay extremely above average. You just have to pay average for the market that you're in, and you have to treat people well.
Yeah, it's interesting. And what's the biggest mistake you see employers make when they're trying to hire hourly staff?
I would say the biggest one, and I also think the fix is really easy, is they disappear on the candidates for a really long time. And time to hire in these roles is crucial. If your time to hire is short, you're going to be able to hire all the candidates that you like. But if you have things that might increase your time to hire, communication can reduce that churn of candidates throughout the funnel. So we sometimes see hotels interview a candidate, they really like the candidate, but they tell us that they really like the candidate, I don't know, a week after interviewing them. They could have said, hey, we think we really like this candidate. Give us a couple of days to make the decision. And that way they can be in like constant communication with the candidate and the candidates know what to expect. So I think the biggest mistake is just disappearing on the candidates during the hiring process, which makes the candidates abandon the process, which could be easily mitigated by just better communication with the candidate.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And a lot of the candidates you support face things like language or kind of tech hurdles. How do you help them stand out and succeed in such a competitive job?
That's a really good question. I think that's kind of like why our company exists. So basically, for the candidate, everything is on WhatsApp and in Spanish. So this pool of candidates is used to using WhatsApp. Back home, they use WhatsApp to find jobs. So everything for the candidate is on WhatsApp and in Spanish. And then for the hotels, we use email, our platform, cell phone, and everything is in English. I feel like people really underestimate the tech barrier for this population because in the US, everybody's so tech savvy. Everybody's used to like downloading an app, creating a user on an app. That's just not the way things work in Latin America. And it's so difficult for someone who isn't used to that to try to get them on board with that and like check notifications, check your email. That just doesn't work.
Yeah, yeah, that's really interesting. I suppose that's definitely hurdles they have to overcome. And if you're helping them out with that, that's like a massive, massive plus, isn't it? For sure.
Exactly.
So if someone's not landing in interviews, where do you usually start? Is it their resume? Is it the outreach, or is it maybe their story or confidence? What would you say?
I would say because of the situation that the US is facing right now, I would say they're probably just not applying to enough jobs. Um, Because a lot of employers aren't looking for anything too sophisticated. A lot of the jobs that we're placing candidates in don't even require English. So I feel it's like it's just that they're not applying to enough jobs and maybe they are. Maybe they're applying on Indeed and they're not checking their email to see who is inviting them for an interview. So they're not showing up for the interviews. But if we're talking about hourly roles in the US, I would say it's they're not applying to enough jobs.
Makes sense. And yeah, pay transparency is a big topic right now. Are your clients being open about wages? How do you help candidates kind of advocate for fair pay?
That's actually a really good question. So we require employers tell us the wage because that's really important to pre-vet the workers to make sure that they're interested in the job. But we have realized that a lot of them do want to keep that wage very, yeah, like they don't want it to be disclosed. So they ask us like, don't mention my name when you are showing this to the candidates. Don't like post my name publicly next to the wage. So I do think that is something that, especially in the hotel industry, is kind of like for some hotels, it's kind of like their secret sauce. Having said that, if you go on Indeed, I think you can get a good sense of what the average hourly wage for specific hourly positions is. I understand that employers want to keep it secret, but I don't think it is that secret. Like most people can tell you what they expect a fair wage in a specific market to be for a specific hourly role. And then I also think about the impact that this has for the amount of candidates that are applying on their site. And a couple of hotels that keep their wage secret actually pay really well. So I think it would be better for them to just publish it everywhere. That would actually get them more applicants.
Yeah, it makes sense, wouldn't it? For sure. I've also noticed more platforms are creating kind of pre-vetted talent communities to help employers hire faster. Is that something you've lead into, or do you see that becoming the norm?
Yes, that is definitely something that we're doing. So before we show the candidates to a hotel, they go through a two-step pre-vetting process, which is a set of questions on WhatsApp and then either a phone or a video interview just to make sure that they're the right fit. I feel like with technology and with AI, doing this pre-vetting has become a lot easier for companies, and it is just such a huge game changer for the employers because if you think about like typical job boards that don't pre-vet the candidates, that requires the employers to sift through like hundreds, sometimes thousands of CVs of applicants where maybe only 10% are a good fit for the job. And then they have to do like their own pre-vetting phone calls, and then they have to schedule the candidates for the interview. So I feel like technology allows so many of the players that are in the space to do that for their customers. And it is such a game changer for the customers.
Yeah, yeah, you can see that for sure. And looking ahead, what trends do you think will shape the job market for immigrant workers over the next few years?
That's a good question. Well, I think that the labor shortage in the US is just going to continue to grow as the population in the US ages. Don't really see AI replacing enough jobs where there is not going to be a labor shortage. So the only solution that I see for this labor shortage is bringing people in from elsewhere. So I just think like the importance of the immigrant workforce in the labor market in the US is going to become bigger and bigger as the labor shortage becomes larger. I also think a lot about these initiatives that the current government is holding, like nearshoring or bringing some of the things that we're producing back to the US. So this is only going to create more necessity of workers. So I think it's going to be more and more important that employers figure out how to hire candidates that come from other countries, speak other languages if they want to stay competitive and they want to attract that workforce. That's going to be vital for the.
What about tech? AI is obviously everywhere in recruiting now. Are you using any tools yet? And if so, what's made the biggest impact?
Yeah, I think the biggest game changer is when we started the company, we didn't use AI for the pre-vetting of the candidates. We have started using AI. It's not 100% AI yet, but it's like 50% AI pre-vetting, 50% recruiters pre-vetting the candidates. And it's just faster, better. The quality of like the AI pre-vetting phone calls or the AI pre-vetting interviews is just amazing that candidates can a lot of these candidates have jobs right now, so they wanna have their pre-vetting interview at 1 AM, at 11 PM. So, now that we're using AI, the candidate can have that pre-vetting interview whenever they want, they can have it right away. So, the experience for the candidate is so much better, the speed at which we're able to provide candidates for the hotels is so much better, and those interviews are they're just really good, like, nothing is forgotten by our AI interviewers. I know the biggest, like, use of AI right now in recruiting in the US is actually note takers for interviews, but I think in the future, AI will play a huge role in pre-vetting for roles. I feel like in a lot of roles, you still need that final human interview because there are a lot of things that AI can't pre-vet for yet. But I think AI pre-vetting is gonna be, like, the next big thing, especially for hourly roles where a lot of people are applying to role inbound, and you just need to filter through which ones are the ones that you actually need a human interviewing and which ones you don't. Yeah, so we actually plan to expand this year to other industries because this has been extremely successful within the Hispanic immigrant population. I feel like, again, I've said it so many times, but people underestimate how much like language and tech barriers affect this population. So we have over 75,000 candidates signed up on our platform looking for jobs. Not everybody wants to work at a hotel. So we are exploring different industries and we want to expand into a different industry so that we can help employers in other industries and have more industries for our candidates.
Yeah, sure. Exciting times. Well, yeah, thank you, Lorenzo. This has been really amazing. Where can our audience kind of find out a bit more about you and a bit more about the business?
Yeah, so you can follow me on LinkedIn. I post updates regularly on our business and on our product launches. And then our website is pontelabor.com. We also have a lot of things there, testimonials from employers, testimonials from candidates, product demos. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, thanks again, and yeah, we'll catch you next time.
Thank you so much, Sam.
Cheers.